Hi everyone, it's Ukeme. You're welcome to today's episode of Pages Highlights. In today's episode, I'll be sharing a review of Sefi Atta's book titled Everything Good Will Come. This was an absolutely interesting read. It captured my attention from the start to the finish, and it was really a beautiful story told. However you put it, it's a Nigerian story told, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I think brief synopsis of the book. Everything Good Will Come introduces an important new voice in contemporary fiction. It is 1971, a year after the Biafran War, and Nigeria is under military rule. Though the politics in the state matter less to those of her hometown, to Eniton Taiwo, an 11-year-old girl tired of waiting for school to start. Will her mother, who has become deeply religious since the death of her son, allow Eniton's relationship with the girl next door, Sherry Bakari? The novel traces this unusual friendship into their adult life against the backdrop of tragedy, family strife, and a war-torn Nigeria. In the end, Everything Good Will Come is Eniton's story, one of a fiercely intelligent, strong, young woman coming of age in a culture that insists on feminine submission. Eniton bucks the familial and political system until she's confronted with one desire too precious to forfeit in the name of personal freedom, her desire for a child. So the story is set in Lagos, Nigeria, and it is basically about the coming of age of a Nigerian girl, Eniton Taiwo, who happens to be the narrator of the story, narrating her experience from when she was 11 years old in 1971 up until she was 35 in 1995. She happens to be the only child born into a middle-class family. I mean, at that time, I'd probably describe them as an upper-class family. They lived in Ikoyi, Lagos, and her father was a lawyer running his own practice. Eniton would later be trained in England and return home for her National Youth Service. She had a fair share of boys' issue and heartbreak, but then eventually she finds love with Niyi. She feels betrayed by her father when she discovers he had another child, which neither she nor her mother knew about. This actually led her to leaving his law firm to struggle her way with the public sector practice, which was quite an experience for her. Obviously, a very unpleasant experience. Growing up in a home where her parents were constantly at war with each other, Eniton would always prefer to be away from home and away from the noise. She finally meets the love of her life, Niyi, and they got married. However, Niyi doesn't seem to be the kind of husband who would go all the way out to defend her. So in some way, the author sort of addresses different societal pressures women face and the pressure to become a mother and how everyone and society just doesn't let the woman be. Eventually, she gets pregnant in 1995, and this happens to be the most trying year for her, as we see a sort of uprising of the feminists in her. After her father is captured by the military guys for voicing out his opinions, and his family had no idea where he was. In a bid to get him released and at least find out where he was, she gets involved with a journalist and a little bit involved in some form of activism, which would lead her to being detained in a dilapidated and unkept prison, even as a pregnant woman. Yes, she understands a different perspective on how a lot of people locked up in Nigerian prisons are being kept for such a long time, awaiting trial for a really long time, with no idea sometimes as to when this trial would actually happen. Others for some silly reasons, and at other times people are just detained for no reason, like Eniton's father. Some fall sick in the process with little or no attention paid to their health. I feel like for her, this sort of opened up a new level of anger and bitterness against the entire socio-political system. Out of the prison, her husband Nii doesn't seem to be very supportive, for good reasons though. He doesn't want her or the baby to get hurt. But then I kind of expected him to be more supportive and understanding. I mean, that was her father in there. What if it was his own father? Would he have been so lax about it? He also had this really annoying way of torturing her emotionally. Like, he could go for months without speaking to her, even while she was pregnant, when he felt like she wasn't listening to him enough. I find a lot of stuffs were overly illustrated and explained. Maybe again because I'm Nigerian and this is a Nigerian story told. And so when the author threw some light on this aspect, I was like, aha. Like Hamatan, for instance, you already know in December and January there's dust in the eyes, coughing, sneezing, chilly mornings, by afternoon, sweaty armpits. Whenever I read foreign books, they never explain the simplest things like snow. All these things no one bothered to tell an African. Why then do African authors feel the need to be overly illustrative? So Sefi Atta's Everything Good Will Come captured my attention from start to finish. The author uses a simple language to drive the idea home, and the narrative form in which the story is told just keeps the reader engaged. So hilarious, sometimes sneaking in a little bit of Nigerian pidgin, and at other times a little bit of Yoruba. It was an amazing book, and it definitely got a 5 star from me. It's a beautiful piece of African literature, maybe an historical fiction for Nigeria. However you put it, it is a Nigerian story told. In many ways, the book reminded me of my childhood experiences and what it was like growing up in Nigeria during the military regime. He opens readers up to the sight and sentiments of Nigerians, how the struggle experienced by people still traces down to the roots of the nation's socio-political systems. We see family as fundamental, and this is one book that talks about a whole lot happening in the society, from rape to feminism and to the pressures and stereotypes placed on women. We see the value of relationships and how entrepreneurship is a Nigerian thing. I absolutely enjoyed reading it and would definitely recommend it to you. So thank you for staying tuned, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button, and if you liked this video, please click on the like button, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you've read the book, let's know what you thought about it in the comment section. So thank you.